All right, welcome to our Canvas overview video. So the purpose of this video is to help you get oriented to the information and resources that are available for our course through Canvas, and to give you a sense of what the workflow will be like for our course. So first things first, when you log into our course, you're going to land on this home page. You'll notice that it says that our course is going to be taught in a hybrid format. What this means is that we're going to use Canvas for a lot of activities and work outside of class time, including watching lecture videos, taking some short lecture video quizzes and completing discussions, turning in assignments, and checking assignment feedback and course progress. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I've made an effort to try and keep everything really well organized so that we have the best possible course experience here. So to manage all these pieces, the main thing that you're going to want to keep tabs on is this course summary list at the bottom of the home page, because the course summary list is going to tell you about due dates that are coming up. In addition, just above that, you'll notice that there are summary links to 3 different pages for the 3 main units of our course. And these are just mostly a way to get to the same information that's going to show up in your course summary, but it's organized a little bit differently in these unit links. So for example, if I click this one for cell biology, that's going to pull up everything organized by the week in which we cover that information. Okay, so my main hope with the unit links is that those help you go back and revisit any topics that you might want to review later in the course, such as right before we have an exam. Okay, so on this home page, there's also a link I want you to notice up here on the upper right to a separate syllabus page. So if we click this, that's going to take us to a page that has a slew of logistical details. So things like how to get in touch with me, how to set up an appointment for office hours or come by for some drop-in office hours, about our textbook, and other details about our course and our learning objectives. So if we just, we're going to just scroll through this fairly quickly here. So just some information about our general syllabus. Here's my contact information. I'm going to be making an effort to be on campus every day through the week throughout the semester. And so it's going to be possible for you to meet with me in office hours in person. I'll just have you meet with me from right outside of my office here. So here's my office hours. I've got an hour every day when you can stop by. And it will also be possible to meet with me online or by phone. So we can use Zoom, we can use Google Chat, or my office number I'll also provide to you. And with this, if you make an appointment in advance, then you'll have first priority during office hours, but you're also welcome to just drop in as well. And so here's a link that you can click that will take you to a calendar to schedule an appointment for office hours. Our textbook for the course is the 12th edition of Campbell Biology. Looks like this. I really treat this more as a reference rather than the primary source for learning things for this course. I'm hoping that my lecture videos will be your primary resource, and then if something's not clear, you want more practice with something, your textbook is a good place to go for that. I'd also note the 12th edition only just came out. Here's a copy of the 11th edition, and the 11th edition is pretty similar to the 12th edition, so you may find that you can just get a hold of a copy of the 11th edition and use that, and that would be just fine. Some of the sections of GenBio are going to be using some companion software for the textbook called Mastering Biology. We are not going to be using Mastering Biology. Instead, we're just going to be working with resources that I've developed myself. So you do not need to purchase the mastering software. I'd also note that you can choose between the e-text or the print edition. Just pick whatever works best for you. I have to say, especially in the era of a lot of screen time, that I really find that having a paper text is kind of nice. And this textbook in particular should be a good reference throughout your college career. So there's some value to having a hard copy of it. So a lot of different options there. So below this, there's a bit about the course itself and our learning objectives. So we're covering general principles of biology, and evolution is going to be a theme that kind of underpins everything that we do. There's a list here of some of the top specific topics that we're going to cover, And I like to teach from the perspective of the history of biology, and but bringing that up through contemporary science in biology. So you'll see that as we go through the course. And then there's a set of our overall course objectives here. So, we're going to do things ranging from looking at some of the original science to learning a lot about fundamentals in biochemistry and genetics and cell biology. We're going to learn how evolution works and shapes biological systems. And then throughout that, we'll also talk about how biological research impacts society, human health, and the environment. Okay, so then there's also some important information in here about participation and classroom conduct. So I want to note this semester we're going to be using a split in-person attendance structure for those who are here in person. So what that means is, I'm going to go back to our homepage here. I've assigned each of you to just one of our 2 lecture times each week for an in-class session. So for example, if I click on Tuesday here, I'm just going to click this preview button. Okay, here's a little seating chart for our class. Oh, look, I'm assigned to Tuesdays, so I better show up on Tuesdays. Here's everyone who's assigned to be in person on Tuesdays. And then we can look at the same thing for Thursday. Oh, and hey, look, I'm assigned to be in person on Thursday too. What a coincidence. So anyway, look and find yourself on either Tuesday or Thursday if you're attending in person. And so that's going to be your in-person lecture slot each week. And then on the alternate days, when you're not in person, there's a link here to our Zoom meeting for every course. So we're going to be setting up Zoom for every lecture period. And this is all kind of a new process for all of us, and so I will anticipate, there's going to be an unexpected technological hiccup that happens at some point, if not multiple points. And so, it's going to take a little bit of patience and persistence on the part of all of us to get things up and running during the first couple of lectures. But I'm planning some time for this during lecture, so I'm somewhat optimistic that we'll be able to figure it out together. And, we really don't know what's going to happen this semester, so we're just going to have to do our best to be ready to roll with the punches and make the most of what we've got here together. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the syllabus here. Okay, so it's a bit about our course, a bit about participation. There's some other details here for you to read about late assignments. And I especially encourage you to take a look at this extension request template. I really set up course deadlines in part to help you stay on track and make good progress through the course. However, I also recognize that life happens. And so for this, that, and the other reason, there may be some point where you might not be able to complete something on time. And if you anticipate that that's going to be the case for you, you can use this extension request template to send me a message and request an extension for a particular assignment. And if you do that, within 24 hours ahead of when that particular deadline is, that gives me time to go through and consider and generally grant your requested extension. So I just ask that you ask for the extension, tell me what your new due date's going to be, and then I'll do my best to accommodate that. Okay, so a little bit here about announcements. I will use Canvas to send announcements, no surprise there. So you should make sure that you're either checking those through Canvas or that you're getting them through email or through some other notification format. Okay, so the next part here is about grading. So I've kind of outlined how grading will work. So here's a bit on the rigor in this course and kind of what to expect based on your efforts in the course. Gen Bio is not an easy course. It's very challenging. The only way that we can really grow and improve is if we're challenged. And so one of my big goals is to push what you learn and what you understand. Now, here's a point distribution across the course, and what you'll see here, and this is also reflected in the Canvas gradebook, is that the majority of the points for Gen Bio are going to come from exams. So we've got 3 midterm exams, worth 100, 130, and 130 points, as illustrated here, and then also a cumulative final exam. But in addition to that, there's also some assignments and some other activities down here that are going to be included. And you're going to see deadlines pop up for these other items in Canvas over the course of the semester. And I'd also draw your attention to the fact that a quarter, 25% of your Bio 110 grade is going to come from the lab portion of the course. So your lab instructor is the person who's going to have more details about that portion. You might also have some questions about the grading scale. So here's kind of our standard grading scale, and I've labeled this here as our guaranteed grading scale. And basically, what this means is that if you wound up earning somewhere between 93 to 100% on everything over the course of the semester, that would guarantee that you're going to earn an A. However, what may very well wind up happening is that because my goal is to challenge each and every one of you, scores on assignments and exams may wind up with a lower percentage distribution. And if that happens, I may make a decision to curve scores for the course. However, and this is a very important point, I'm not going to make that particular decision until the very end of the semester. And I know that that can often lead to some anxiety on not knowing exactly how you're doing in the course, but there's not a whole lot that can be done about that. But long story short is that your best bet for our course is to do your best and be consistent about completing all the work for the course. Work on developing good study habits, and give the exams your best shot, and just keep at it all the way through the semester. Okay, there's a few more details here about a couple of the assignment types. The biology in the news assignment is a presentation project that you will complete with a partner or with 2 partners in small groups. So there's more information about that assignment here. And then in addition to that, we also ask that you attend and participate in our department seminars this semester. So typically what we'll do is, as a department, we host a series of seminars on Friday afternoons, and we invite in scientists from other institutions to come and give talks about their research programs. Typically the biologists that we invite in are people who are really enthusiastic to talk about their research with an audience of undergraduates. So the level of the talk is aimed towards students such as yourselves in Gen Bio. And these seminars are a really fantastic way to learn about the kinds of research that biologists engage in outside of the classroom. Including, all the biologists here at Siena within the biology department. So out of those seminars, you will be required to attend at least 2 of the seminars and then submit some notes that you've taken and some questions that you've come up with while listening to the talk. So it's mostly for participation, but it's an important component of this course and of learning more about what science is all about. The next items on the syllabus may already be somewhat familiar to you because they cover a number of standard policies and procedures here at Siena. I'm still going to encourage you to spend some time to read through these sections because that hopefully will help you understand my commitments to you as your professor and also my expectations of you as students. And I take these commitments very seriously, especially with regards to ensuring that we have a safe learning environment here. I also, amongst these, want to make a special note about this item regarding educational access and accommodations. So as is noted here, if you have a condition that requires accommodations, do your best to just let me know as soon as you can individually. And I will also note that even though this policy says to do this as soon as possible within the first 2 weeks of class, I think it's important to note that there are often cases where someone in college discovers that they have this type of condition only after they've started college. So just to kind of give you one example, if you're coming to college in the midst of a pandemic, and that could mean that what had seemed to you like a reasonable amount of anxiety about life is now something that's keeping you from being able to concentrate in class and learn and do well on assignments. I mean, it can start to affect your ability to get good sleep and this, that, and the other thing. And this is a very real phenomenon to have happen. Um, you know, you're in a new environment, a whole lot of things have changed. You know, a lot can take place. And so I want to be very clear that if you wind up experiencing something like this in your time at Siena, so something happens that really starts to interfere with your ability to do everyday things. So you can't get out of bed and uh, and eat. You can't make it to classes. You're just really struggling. That means that it's time to seek out help and make some changes. And so again, you might not discover this until you've been at Siena for some period of time. And so, even if you only discover about something of this nature, partway through the semester, I would still encourage you to let me know, and I'll do my best to accommodate you in whatever way is most appropriate. And typically, I don't need to know a lot of the details. It is up to you as an individual to decide how much you feel comfortable disclosing. I just need to know that you need some form of accommodation. So Julia Gold, her contact information is listed here. She's really a good first point person to talk to about what kinds of accommodations will be appropriate for your particular circumstances. There's also a bit here about the importance of maintaining an inclusive classroom, and this is also something I feel very strongly about. And it's critical because if you don't feel safe in your learning environment, you're going to have a really hard time learning. This is my commitment to you that I will do my best to foster an inclusive classroom. And I hope that you also will do your best to help me ensure that our classroom is an inclusive environment for everyone who's participating. Okay, so a little bit more here about, a pandemic emergency, what's going to happen if there's any situation that constitutes some form of misconduct or potentially misconduct. There's also some contact information here for Lois Goland, who can help navigate those situations. And again, this is something where I'm actually a mandatory reporter. So if you have an experience that falls under this category and need to talk to someone about it, you're welcome to talk to me, but I'm probably going to start out saying, before you say any details of the situation, be aware that I need to report that to my superiors to ensure that the situation is handled appropriately. And the reason we do that is, again, the bottom line is we want to ensure that this is a safe environment for you. It doesn't have to be me. There are a number of resources on campus that you can work with just to make sure that whatever issue has come up is addressed in an appropriate way. Okay, so coming back to how this course is going to run. As I've noted here on our homepage, the course is going to run a little differently from what you might have expected from a conventional college course. And the biggest difference is that instead of having classes where I stand up in front of the class and I talk at you, I'm instead creating this set of lecture videos, such as this one here, that I expect you to watch on your own time ahead of our lecture meetings. And so then you might wonder, well, what's the purpose of our lecture meetings? In our actual lecture meetings, our focus will be different. So we're going to focus our in-class time around working to clear up anything that still doesn't make sense from the lecture videos and the lecture quizzes. So addressing any misconceptions that might come up, And we're also going to take that time to work through practice problems to practice working with and going further with the concepts and information that you've been learning about. So in general, we find that people learn most effectively when they have discussions rather than just listening. So that's really our aim with our lecture sessions. And so really our goal with our precious lecture time together is to use that time to help you continue developing your critical thinking skills. Okay, so now you'll notice if you click on one of the assignments that has a due date down here in the course summary section, that's going to open a window with a couple of things in it. So for example, here's our course introduction page, which is where you found these videos, and a short discussion prompt to complete down here at the bottom. So that's one type of item that's going to appear. In addition to that, some of the other items from this list are going to display as a Canvas quiz. So if I click this Steps of the Scientific Method, that's going to show up as a quiz. If I take the quiz, you'll notice here that there's a to-do list for the first question. And then after that to-do list, there is a link to where I'll put a lecture video and also some lecture notes and copies of slides. And then from there, there's going to be a set of lecture questions or quiz questions to answer and then submit when you're finished. Okay, we're going to navigate away from this for the moment. Okay, so that's kind of the organizational structure for the quizzes. Again, they should be fairly low stakes assignments. They're just there to check your understanding of the material after watching the lecture videos. And note that these discussions and quizzes are typically going to be due the day ahead of our actual lecture times. So you're going to need to budget a couple of hours each week ahead of our lectures to work your way through this material. And then lastly, the last set of items are going to be assignments. I don't have one posted up yet, but you'll see it pretty soon. And the assignments are designed to be completed after we've covered a given topic in lecture time. So they're going to be more in-depth than the quizzes and the discussions are. And the idea with these assignments is that they're going to be one more opportunity to really solidify your thinking about a given topic. So these are where you're going to be practicing more advanced problem solving and critical thinking skills, and where you'll have a chance to demonstrate an improved mastery of the material. So they're weighted more heavily in your overall grade. And these assignments are typically going to be due on the Sunday after the relevant lecture topics have been covered. And one other important note on the assignments. So while I absolutely encourage you to talk about the questions and your responses, with your classmates and with me and, even beyond, I expect that when you write out answers to the assignments, that you are writing your answers in your own words so that your answers reflect your individual thinking. So it's very important that the assignments are something that you are individually responsible for. Otherwise, I don't know whether you've actually learned anything. Okay, with that, that's a whole lot of information for one video. Also, if you discover at any point that you still have questions about some of the logistics for this course, please don't hesitate to get in touch. If it's something that's somewhere on the syllabus, most likely I'm going to direct you back to the syllabus. Otherwise, I'm really here for you, and I'm more than happy to chat with you. And again, welcome to Gen Bio at Siena.